Hello Internet, my name is Matt Gregory and I'd like to present to you my Fit4Life application. Through this introduction, I will explain the what, the how, and the why of this presentation. The Fit4Life program is a program that's hosted by BYUI in which participants are actively trained by students in the exercise physiology department. And there are three main sections of this program. There's CrossFit, strength training, and then weight loss. Each week, the trainers will develop workouts for these participants and then provide assistance as needed. So as a participant within the weight loss section of this program, I noticed one main issue. The workouts of the week were either emailed out in the form of a PDF or else they were printed out and placed in the participants' folder. Because of how the workouts were presented, most participants would either just download the PDF and view it on their phone through the email application, or they would take a photo of the printed out paper and look up the workout that way. And yes, by doing this, the workouts were still being distributed, but I felt like there was a better way that this could be done. So to fill in this role for the distribution, my application would simply need to be a read-only interface for the Fit4Life participants. They go to that website where the web application is hosted, select whichever program they're in, and then it pulls up the workout for the day, and then they're good to go. So that way they don't have to worry about pulling up the PDF file, zooming into where they're specifically supposed to be, or else keeping and saving photos on their personal device. So now that I had the goal in mind that I wanted to reach, and then I had presented the proposal to Brother Godfrey to get it approved for the senior project, now came the time to approach the Fit4Life administration. I reached out to them explaining the shortcomings that I had seen with the distribution, and then I also provided the possible idea that I had. And let's just say their response was overly positive, to the point that they were ready to start reaching out to the IT department of BYUI to get the development started. Now, this is fine and dandy, except that process would have gone on without me. And then at that point, what would have been the use for me coming with this idea if I wouldn't be able to pull the experiences from that project? So the plan was solid, but the delivery on that plan needed a little bit of adjustment. Before, my idea was, hey, this is what I'm thinking. Can you team me up with somebody and then we can work on this together and get it implemented for you guys? But then I needed to change the mentality to, hey, this is what I have. Would you like to use it? And then we push forward with implementation. So this big plan there is at the end of the development process. I will develop a presentation to send to the Fit4Life app administration team to be seen for approval and then get pushed forward into implementation. So now we're going to move on to the how of the development of this application. So my first idea was to use a MySQL powered database on the back end that would be this nice robust tool that would deliver all the information that the user would ever need and have nice pictures, all sorts of information like that. But quick into the development cycle, I noticed that unless somebody that was trained in MySQL and was spending a lot of time updating that database on a weekly basis, there really wouldn't be a way for that to work out. Because my idea was I wanted it to be a product that after it was produced, it could be maintained and updated by the trainers. So something very much simpler would need to be used. And at that point, that's when I got an idea given to me from one of my mentors. He said, well, why not just use Google Sheets? They have this ability that makes it so you can use Google Sheets as an API, so that all the administrator of that application would need to do is enter in the data as if it was just a regular Excel worksheet, and then the data exports and updates live to the application. So the cool thing is I started doing some more research into this topic and found out it was very simple. The data would be delivered in a simple JSON string. So all that it would take is just a little bit of JavaScript magic, and then boom, everything's ready to go. So now that I had the back end ready to go and filled with test data, now comes the pulling it from the Google Sheets API into the actual website itself. And I entered in that sandboxing phase. So to do this, I separated out each of those 3 instances, the weight loss, CrossFit, and strength training. I put them out on their own just so if I ran into any issues, they wouldn't mess with each other. So I got those running, and then I brought them together, built out this wonderful UI that made sense in my head. Then I went and I was talking to another one of my mentors, Brother Barney, and we ran into an issue. Yes, the UI made sense to me, but it didn't mean that it necessarily makes sense to somebody who is approaching the project blindly. And so working with Brother Barney, we were able to go through and rehash out the user interface so that it would make sense to a user approaching the interface for the first time. And that brings me to where we are now, which is right into the alpha stage of testing. And with the alpha stage of testing, I am just going to personally update the application with the workouts for the week and then use the interface or use the device on my own just to see if there are any issues that I found out or if anything else would be problematic that way. Then I plan on doing that for 2 weeks, and then after that, I'll come back, make any adjustments that I see, if any. There probably will be, and then go out into the beta test, where there I will have participants of the Fit4Life program use the application, as well as train a few of the trainers to update their workouts on the back end that way. Once the feedback from that is done, everything's polished up, ready to go, that's when that presentation comes in to go to the Fit4Life administration. And then I can just go through, say, hey, this is what I have. Would you like it? So once that's done, we can move on to implementation, working with the BYUI IT department. So now let's move on to the why of this project. This is where it really gets interesting. So first off, there are some immediate benefits. This project, of course, is a senior project. It fulfills a requirement so that I can get my degree. And that's kind of a shallow aspect as to why I'm doing this. Another big reason why I'm doing this is it allows me to apply concepts that I've learned while going to school. There are many opportunities to learn these concepts while at BYUI, but there aren't that many times to apply them onto a personal project that you can get passionate about. And I've found that when you have a project that you're passionate about, it makes it easier to apply those concepts that you're learning. And then lastly, for the immediate benefits, it gives me the ability to go through the development process. There are only a couple of times that the development process has been shown and ran through while going through here at BYUI. So it gives me another opportunity to go through and become more familiar with a development method. So next, I run onto the short-term career benefits. First off, this is my first project that's not tied to an individual course. It's not a database project for a database course. It's not a JavaScript project specifically for a JavaScript course. It's where I really get to integrate everything that I've been learning here at BYUI. And then I can go through, put it on a resume and say, hey, this is what I've developed. This is what I've learned. And that brings me to my next short-term career benefits. Is most students, while going through BYUI's program, they complete an internship to help solidify some of these concepts that they're learning. Unfortunately, because of a work situation, I wasn't able to complete an internship. So now I get to go through and have a fighting chance with this project and say, hey, here's these topics and good habits to make me employable. I've learned these and applied them into this application. So next, and probably most importantly, comes the long-term benefits. And this isn't so much as a checkbox that can be made. It's habits and processes that I can go through and develop. So the first thing is every useful application, and I've been taught this multiple times by multiple teachers, Every useful application answers a problem. Yes, the games might become popular and then blow up and then phase out, but the apps that get used over and over again are ones that answer a problem. So the first habit that I can get into is looking for those problems. Whether it's something as simple as tracking the meat temperature of a Thanksgiving turkey, or something as complex as, I'm not sure, there are all sorts of different options that it could go to. One that could come to mind is customizing a UI within a car interface. Yes, that's super, super advanced, but it's a problem that could be solved. It just comes down to finding those problems. The next step of that is coming up with solutions that are within your realm to develop. So going back to that smoker idea or the Thanksgiving turkey idea, come up with a simple idea on an application that you'd develop, what kind of technologies, what kind of wireframe you'd put into that to make it function. Then if an interest is there, push forward and develop the project. And then the last thing there is go through and seek out new technologies. Stay current on new technologies. The big thing there is, if it wasn't for my mentor to point out the Google Sheets idea for the API, I probably would have been flooded with trying to figure out how to develop a CMS that could be updated by a trainer, by somebody that's not necessarily trained in the CIT program. So by finding those technologies, it definitely comes to an advantage on my end because it makes it something easier to update. So keep an eye on those technologies as they come out. So this concludes my presentation for the Fit4Life application. If you have any comments or questions, be sure and put them in the comment section down below. Also, in the video description, I am going to put a link to the Fit4Life application. It's hosted on a domain that I have out now. So thank you for your time, and I will speak with you guys again soon. Bye.